Guys, can you hear me? Audio check, please.
Hello, testing 1 2 3 1 2 3.
NASA here, 1 2 3 4 5 6.
Yeah, okay. How does that sound?
Yeah, I'm ready. Good to go.
All right, that's great.
Is it English or Hindi?
That was the question, was it?
Let's get this show on the road. Let's roll. On my right, world number 1 ranked team India. On my left, Australia, the world champions. This match is a virtual knockout. They have a player who's invincible at the moment.
Supreme technique.
Genius.
The best in the world right now.
He likes to get under the skin of people.
Do I look the puja part types? Do I look the puja part types?
Incredible.
And a captain who goes by his instincts.
Brilliant.
Captain Cool, mid-ass touch.
Enjoys the big occasion.
These guys have a pocket-sized dynamite.
I enjoy watching his batting.
Strong power hitter.
I don't really know much Hindi. Tora.
Brutal, dominating, match winner.
Phenomenal. Dangerous threat.
Thank God I retired at the right time.
And a captain who's street smart.
I'm for Steve Smith.
He's for Steve Smith in India.
He's a captain on the improve as well.
Just look at his record in all forms of the game. Fantastic.
So there are many big face-offs within this mega battle. Ashwin, Maxwell.
Beware Ashwin, he will have a go.
Tossed up, looking to drive. Maxwell beats him through the gate.
Unpredictable and exciting.
Prepare for anything. Maxwell could go anywhere. 360 arc.
And clean ball. Rattles the stumps.
Timeout.
I won't. I'll just go.
Gentlemen, take it easy.
No, don't stop.
Let the action begin.
So gentlemen, what can we expect today?
A lot of passion and a lot more runs.
The game of the tournament. This is two quality sides.
It's huge. It's out of here.
It will be an absolute cracker of a game.
I think whoever wins this game will probably go on and win the World Cup.
Are you all ready?
Are you ready?
Are you ready?
Let's get the show on the road.
Let the battle begin.
Let the battle begin.
So they're ready. Are you? Yes, the clock is ticking as we draw closer to the blockbuster mega clash between India and Australia in the T20 World Cup. It's a virtual knockout and both teams have had a similar run in the tournament so far. But who will emerge victorious in this all-important clash? We've got a blockbuster panel right here for you on India Today. Saurav Ganguly, Nikhil Chopra right here in the studios. Also joining us, Wasim Akram, Waugh and Kapil Dev. Shivani is live from Mohali and today's my special co-anchor is my consulting editor, Boria Majumdar.
You know, one has to first ask the first question to Saurav to set this up. India v Australia, you've been there many a time. Heart, mind, potential, talent, what wins a contest?
Heart India, mind 50-50, potential equal. Probably in home conditions India favourites, but the Australian team can do anything. They've got some power hitters. One of them connect, it could be a different game.
Is it good for India to have a turner, or is it good just to have a good track?
Just have a good track because they recently beat Australia in Australia 3-0 on good pitches. And they haven't looked in good rhythm in the last 3 games. In the turners they played in Calcutta, Nagpur and Bangalore. So we've been talking about the top order, Rohit Sharma, Shikhar Dhawan. You give them a good pitch where they know the ball will come onto the bat and that's where they're going to be dangerous. Rohit's record against Australia is terrific in the shorter format of the game. So I would actually not worry about the surface. And when you play big games, you don't worry about the surface. As a captain, as a batsman, you don't think that this is the surface only we can win on. And I think India is capable of beating them on any surface. And I would just keep the surface out of the game and just worry about the game.
You know, Shobit, we've got a surface here. For our viewers, we've got a bat also ready for Saurav. So he'll sort of show us what kind of a surface, what should be the strategy a little way down in the show. I think you said Shivani is live, right?
Yes, Shivani is live.
So why don't we straight go to Shivani? Shivani, what kind of a surface are we expecting? What are you hearing? There's so much talk about the surface in Mohali.
Well, the surface is going to be the one that the women's team is playing on, Boria. So I think all the indications are going to come from that. It wasn't a high-scoring game, but then it is a West Indies versus, the women's match is currently on, and it will give an indication of just what kind of a score we can get. So the pitch is going to be 40 overs old. Maybe Saurav can talk about just what kind of impact it will have, if any at all, and all the indications will come from that. But I have some Australian fans with me. Are you nervous before this encounter? India's been touted as the favourites.
Not at all. Not at all. We're just really excited to be here and to be a part of it all and enjoying the spirit.
What do you think Australia needs to do, because they've not had the best campaign so far?
A win, hopefully. That's the ultimate goal.
Who are you banking on today from the Australian lineup?
Everyone. They'll have a really good game.
And will this be Shane Watson's last T20 match or no?
He'll make a surprise comeback.
His announcement for retirement.
Tell me, who do you fear the most as an Australian fan from the Indian lineup?
I'm not really sure. We're a little bit nervous in general. I think he beat us last time. It's not the best coming into the game. So yeah.
In the 2011 World Cup, if you remember, India and Australia played the quarterfinals. So this is a virtual quarterfinal, and India had won that match at home again. So maybe some history in favour of India. But Australian fans not nervous here. They all geared up to enjoy the match. A lot of the Indian fans, of course, here as well, and they feel that this pitch will suit batting. That's what the Indian team has been wanting throughout the tournament. As Saurav just said, they'd want the ball to come onto their bat. But perhaps if you need an indication, all we have to do is switch on a couple of overs of the women's match, Boria.
Absolutely. Let me at this moment bring in former India captain Kapil Dev, the man who led us to our very first World Cup victory as well. Kapil, India versus Australia, your initial reaction first of all, and India has won 5 matches, the last 5 matches these two countries have played against each other. So who has the advantage?
Not really. I don't think so. There is any edge on that side. It's a new tournament, new place and different pitches. That's more, one can talk about that. What happened 3 months back, I don't think so. There is going to make much of an impact on that.
Just to get Steve in, the Australian flavor in this huge mega build-up on India today. Steve, your initial prediction? One has to ask you, don't give me an Australian answer. Objective answer, is it India or Australia? Again, I asked Saurav this question. What does it take for a captain? What does it take for a team to really go on and win a match like this?
I think both sides will believe they can win the match. I'm not sure there's any favouritism. Equally, both sides haven't played their best cricket yet. They've had a similar sort of build-up. They started slowly, getting a bit of momentum, but neither side's been at their best as yet. So I think that India may go in slight favourites, particularly if the ball turns a bit. That may give them a bit of an edge, but Australia, on the other hand, will believe they can win the match. So I think it's very, very even.
All right, it's time to get Wasim Akram also on this broadcast. Wasim, first of all, it's a virtual knockout, isn't it? What do you expect from this match, India versus Australia?
It's a big game. It's a knockout, either for India, either for Australia. So yes, it's a virtual quarterfinal. It's a World T20, a big event, and it'll be a pack house. Obviously, I don't have to say that, but it'll be a pack house. It'll be Indian supporters. But coming back to the game, it's a good pitch. It's the best pitches in this World T20 so far I've seen. Both the games Pakistan played against New Zealand, they scored 180, batted first, and second game against Australia, Australia won the toss and they batted, they scored 192 against Pakistan, and that shows the quality and the consistency of that pitch. Now India had played a couple of close games, so when you win close games, you gain a lot more confidence. And on the other hand, Australia won against Pakistan convincingly. So they're going into this game at par, 50-50, I reckon, the way both the teams are. But it'll be a big test for bowlers from either side, especially from Indian side, I reckon, on this pitch, where to bowl in last 4 to 5 overs, because we have seen on this pitch, as a batsman, you can go from the first ball because of the true bounce and consistent bounce. There was hardly a return, and it's a new pitch. I believe they are playing in Mohali. New pitch means new square, the new 22 yards. So that means there will be a bit of grass, but the grass is there just to bind the pitch. I don't know, they might shave off the grass, but still I don't think so it's going to turn. But it'll be a batting deck, and if any team wins the toss, it's a pressure game, it's a knockout game, they should bat first, like Australia and New Zealand did against Pakistan.
All right, we've got an exclusive at this moment. We'll ask our guests to just hold on for a minute. Let's listen in from the Australian camp. Boria Majumdar just spoke to Australian pocket-sized dynamo David Warner, and let's hear what he had to say.
If there's one man who sort of India will be wary of, I mean, Ravichandran Ashwin in red-hot form, it's David Warner. You had a great record against Ravi Ashwin.
Look, I obviously love playing against India as a team, and obviously I've been up top of the order, and I play obviously in the top 6 for all the first 6 overs. So I'm always going to have to face Ashwin at some stage if I'm still in. And yeah, look, I think both of us have had a great battle over the last, I'll say, 8 or 9 years, which has been fantastic. And at the end of the day, one of us is going to get out, which is me, or the other thing is I'm going to obviously try and hit him for some boundaries. And that's the great thing about this game.
When you compare a Steve Smith versus MS Dhoni in their styles of captaincy, how would you describe the two? Steve, you said, is unpredictable.
Yeah, so with both of them, I think MS, obviously the experience is ridiculous. He's been a captain for many years, and he has played with the same team basically, for a long time now. He can always throw the ball to Ashwin. He can always throw the ball to, maybe Umesh Yadav, for example. These guys, where Smithy doesn't have the guys like McGrath or Warne or that in the team. It's a new team, and we know what they're capable of, our players. So the difference between them two, I think, is experience. But when it comes to the crunch when you're out there, experience does play a big role, but unpredictability can always be a big role as well.
I mean, can you sort of deconstruct what's so great about Shikhar, Rohit and Virat for us?
Yeah, look, obviously they've got off to a fly the majority of the times that they've played. And I think the crucial thing is when you come up against a team like India is you have to take early wickets and let the chunk of the middle do the batting. And that can be a scary thing too, because MS Dhoni is in the middle, Rayna's in the middle. These guys are world-class players. We know that the first 3 wickets are crucial, so having them guys at the top of the order for India is explosive, as you say. They're very good, they work together. If Shikhar doesn't get runs, Rohit might get runs. If they both don't get runs, Virat will come in and get runs. So you've got to be very switched on and have the right execution to deliver to get them people out.
I'm also told that Shivani has now got Nasir Hussain with her in Mohali. So Shivani, before I come to you, I'll ask a quick question of Saurav and Nikhil and come to you. Saurav, the way we are setting this up, David Warner at 3-4, is that something that Australia is missing a trick because of?
I really wouldn't mind Warner at 3. I would rather mind him at 4 because 4 is too low for an opener. I think 3 is fine. Best thing for him would be to open, but you got to get the side right. You got to adjust the team. Usman Khwaja has been in terrific form, so you give the young boy an opportunity up and let Warner come down at 3. I don't see much of a difference in this format between opening and 3. They've got Smith at 4, Maxwell at 5, and Watson at 6. And then the wicket keeper, and then James Faulkner. So that's a serious batting lineup. I think Warner has done well also in the middle order. It's the way you look at it, because I've opened and I've batted at number 3, and I really don't see much of a difference. Sometimes you're as good as an opener if you lose early wickets. He got an opportunity in the last game as well when Khwaja got out early in the first 6 overs, and he had 3 or 4 overs to get in, but he obviously got out and couldn't capitalize on that. So I don't think you should worry about it. I would have been worried, as I said, if it would have been 4 or 5, but I think 3 is fine.
Nikhil, Ravichandran Ashwin versus David Warner, key contest, or Glenn Maxwell?
Well, without a doubt. Ashwin, the way the ball's coming out of his hand, we'd expect him to go out there, bowl aggressive lines. He has to go in with a mindset that he has to get wickets. It's important, because if you look at the Australian batting lineup, they'll come hard at the Indians. Whether they're 2 wickets early down, they'll still keep the pedal to the metal and then keep going all guns blazing to put pressure on the Indian bowling attack. The Indian spinners have to pick wickets so that your last couple of overs, the slog overs, there's some new batsmen at the crease.
Shivani, why don't you ask Nasir this question? How important is the battle between Ravi Ashwin and David Warner, and Ravi Ashwin and Glenn Maxwell, and then take it from there? Over to you.
Absolutely. You didn't talk about Watson. He's renounced his retirement, and he actually has a very good record against both Ashwin and Jadeja in the few matches that they have played in the T20 version. But Nasir, you're coming in commentating from the women's match. First of all, everybody wants to know is how's the pitch behaving?
The pitch has played fine, actually. It's actually been a little bit skiddy low, so maybe that will surprise the Australians, because Australians obviously like pace and bounce, but it's a very good pitch. I mean, IPL par score last year was 140, but in this game, in these games here so far, it's been about 170, 180, 190, so it's a good pitch, but I still think spin will play a part. It's a little bit drier than the Australia-Pakistan pitch.
And batting first or bat second?
I think in a big game like this, it's always an advantage to bat first, I would say, just to get pressure, scoreboard pressure. If you get a score, and then the opposition know if they have to chase, and they don't chase well, they're out of the competition. Also, I don't think dew is much of a factor here, so the spinners will hold the ball fine, the seamers will as well. So I think win the toss and bat.
You were talking about spin, good play factor here, so a key battle between Warner, Ashwin, Glenn Maxwell, Ashwin, Watson, Jadeja, everybody?
Everyone. I mean, they all know each other so well. Like Faulkner got 5 wickets at the end against Pakistan, didn't he? But, you know, Indian batsmen have seen all his variations so often. Would they be playing better? I think, yeah, Ashwin is an absolute star, absolutely brilliant bowler. But I think on this pitch here that is skidding a little bit, I think someone like Jadeja might do a lot of batsman LBW playing across the line. The Australians may have to hit down the ground and hit straight. So everyone has their role. Zampa might bowl quite nicely on it. One thing is the Australians will like the fact that the ball is coming onto the bat. They struggle when there's no pace on the ball.
And what about the batting order for the Australians? They haven't quite settled that in. Saurav was just mentioning that David Warner at number 3 is better than David Warner at number 4.
Yeah, David Warner at number 2 would be even better for me. It should be Warner and Finch. Khawaja at 3, but Khawaja's played pretty well. I always say the first 3, just put them in a hat, because one could be out in the first ball anyway, so definitely not Warner at 4. I think they've almost stumbled on their side at the right time.
There's one player they haven't tested yet, that's Andrew Tye, so could he get a game in here?
I don't think so. I don't think you're going to come into this big game. They'll want their big gun players, really, so they're improving. India will have to be fearful, because they are improving with every single game, whereas India have been a little bit up and down. Even against Bangladesh, India didn't play particularly well, so you'd have to be very fearful of this Australian side, but India have beaten them in the last 5 T20s.
That's right. While India came off, of course, the whitewash in Australia, Australia also came into this with a series win against South Africa as well. As far as captaincy is concerned, Smith versus Dhoni. Dhoni, of course, we saw. He gave us a masterclass in the Bangladesh match in the last over, absolutely calm and composed. What is it that you look from Stephen Smith from today's match?
I think probably more just leading from the front, Stephen Smith with the bat.
Bat talks.
With his bat, like he did against Pakistan. He went and smashed that 80. I think that's his role, really. I don't think he's got the experience yet of a Dhoni. I don't think there's anyone's got the experience or the calmness or the coolness of a Dhoni. So Steve Smith, the best thing he could do for Australia today, whether he comes in at 4 or wherever, is to come in and play like he did against Pakistan. That's how he'll win Australia the game.
All right, Saurav, so you got your answer to the pitch bit. Nasir saying the pitch behaving much better than what India has faced in the last 3 matches, so that's a big plus. Any questions, Saurav, for Nasir here?
I obviously wanted to ask him whether there will be any spin in the night for the Indians, because we've been reading about some turn on the surface, but obviously he's answered it. He expects it to be a good surface, and I think that's the best way to go forward for India, because the batters need the ball to come onto the bat.
All right, at this moment, actually, we'll have to slip into a very short break. However, all our guests stay with us right here on India Today.
Welcome back to this mega build-up on India Today as we build up to the mega clash. India v Australia. Saurav and Nasir both live with us, so a question each for both. Saurav, Nasir was just mentioning that the wicket is skidding a bit. Australia has been there in Mohali for a week. Does that help? And would you play an extra spinner or an extra fast bowler?
Yeah, it does help actually. You're mentally at one place and you've played a game on the surface. You've got some runs, so it makes the team a lot more confident. The batting has come off well. They've bowled well. So I think it does help. But I don't think it's going to make so much of a difference for India, because this is India's home territory. And they've played in Mohali up to a number of times, so there wouldn't be a mismatch in terms of getting used to the conditions. In terms of the spin, I'm not too sure though, maybe whether India can play another spinner. I think the balance is fine. Dhoni doesn't change his winning combination much, and I think Hardik Pandya is a bit of a package. He's outstanding on the field. He can whack that ball when send up the order, and if any of your top order fast bowlers don't deliver, you can have him to bowl. Imagine a spinner bowling that over in Bangalore, the last over, if MS had finished both of his fast bowlers. An off-spinner bowling that over, it could have been different. So I think with Hardik, the balance is right. Ravichandran Ashwin and Jadeja, the two spinners. And if it spins, I think he's got to use Yuvraj a lot more than he does Hardik Pandya, which he hasn't done in this competition so far. Even in Calcutta, I thought Yuvraj should have bowled. Even in Bangalore, I thought Yuvraj should have bowled. So that's the balance he's got to strike. And I think Dhoni is comfortable with this. He's not tinkering the side much. He knows he's got all his areas covered and he just wants to go and play, which is probably the right way to go.
Right, now, Sid, the same question to you actually, Shobit. Would you've seen the women's match, would you say that Mohali sort of gives Australia that little bit extra cushion than say a Bangalore or an Eden Gardens or any of these tracks where the ball spins a bit, Shivani?
That's right. Now, so the question coming from Boria is that since you've seen the track and since the pitches have been such a concern, will this track give Australia that just tiny bit of cushion that they wanted against Australia, the track suiting them?
I think Australia will be pleased playing here, India, definitely. I mean, if you ask Australia, they would want to be either here or Mumbai with pitches with a bit of grass on, a little bit of pace on. This one is a little bit drier than the game against Pakistan, so it will grip a little bit, but then again it's going to be a night game. That was a day game. But I think also India will be pleased, so it evens itself out because their batsmen have had to cope with some of the worst pitches that have really spun, have been tired pitches. It's whether the side actually, what Australia did well was they weren't playing well, then they came here and immediately found their form. That's what the Indian top order, especially those two at the top, have to do. Sometimes when you're not playing well, you lose the rhythm of batting and you lose your confidence a bit. It is vital that Dhawan and Rohit have that confidence to come out and play freely and not use up 4 or 5 overs to get used to a new pitch.
Another discussion up in the studio was about adding that extra spinner. I think we all are in agreement that that's perhaps not going to happen. Saurav was also making the point that Hardik Pandya provides such a good balance to this side that perhaps restricts the entry of any other bowler in his place, isn't it? Especially given what he's done in the death overs.
Yeah, I mean, Pandya, I think if anything, was actually I know he bowled a good over the other day, but was actually slightly over bowled by Dhoni on those spinning pitches. I would have gone to your Yuvraj or bowled Raina out, which never really happened. And I was a bit surprised that Pandya was bowling like 2 overs for 20 when your spinner could have bowled 2 overs for 10 and got a wicket. But here in Mohali, where it's a little bit more zippy and it'll skid through, I think Pandya can bowl his 3-4 overs and be that sort of safety valve. But also his batting. I mean, Steve Waugh spoke to us the other day about how impressed he's been with him. And on a big game like this, if someone like him, I know he only got 16 or something the other day, but if he can come in down the order and smash 20 or 30, they might be the difference. That might be the difference between getting into a semi-final or not.
And before we let you go, because Nasser is required inside the ground, what does your gut say today?
My gut says I want to get out of here, so I'm going to say my gut says India, but beware of Australia on this track because they like these sort of conditions.
Smart man, Nasser. You're a very smart man. Studio, back to you.
Well, Nasser, you have nothing to worry about, Nasser. We're very good hosts.
He knows how to behave in India, Nasser. He knows exactly what to say. He knows what people want to hear, and he wants to get out of that place back into the ground, and he will expect Australia to win.
Yeah, quite surprising that Nasser was standing here and he wasn't mobbed by the Indian fans outside the stadium, isn't it? But thank you, Nasser, for joining us live. We have to slip into a short break now. After the break, all our guests stay with us.